Hello, how are you guys doing? Sunday today. I did not get a chance to read yesterday. I forgot the book and I went back home. However, I will read one tonight and pick up two tomorrow because it's already late, just got home. But without further ado, let's stop making excuses and let's read Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. We're moving on to chapter 13. It's a short chapter, so maybe we'll keep it short and then finish off the chapter tomorrow. So without further ado, let's get into it. Chapter 13, The Brain, a broadcasting and receiving station for thought, the 12th step to riches. In a study for the author with Drs. Alexander Graham Bell and Dr. Elmer R. Gates, it was concluded that every human brain is both a broadcasting and receiving station for the vibration of thought. Through the medium of the ether, in a fashion similar to that employed by the basic principle of radio and other wireless communication, every human brain is capable of picking up vibrations of thought released by other brains. In connection with the above statement, compare and consider the description of the creative imagination as outlined in Chapter 6 on imagination. The creative imagination is the receiving set of the brain which receives thoughts released by the brains of others. It is the agency of communication between one's conscious or receiving mind and the four sources from which one may receive thought stimuli. When stimulated or stepped up to a high rate of vibration, the mind becomes more receptive to the vibration of thought that reaches it through the ether from outside sources. This stepping up process takes place through the positive emotion or the negative emotions. Through the emotions, the vibrations of thought may be increased. Vibrations of an exceedingly high rate are the only vibrations picked up and carried by the ether from one brain to another. Thought is energy traveled at an exceedingly high rate of vibration. Thought which had been modified or stepped up by any of the major emotions vibrates at a much higher rate than ordinary thought. It is this type of thought that passes from one brain to another through the broadcasting machinery of the human brain. As far as intensity and driving force are concerned, the emotion of sex stands at the head of the list of human emotions. A brain stimulated by the emotion of sex vibrates at a much more rapid rate than it does when the emotion is coincide or absent. The result of sex transmutation is the increase of the rate of vibration of thought to such a pitch that the creative imagination becomes highly receptive to ideas it picks up from the ether. When the brain is vibrating at a rapid rate, it not only attracts thoughts and ideas released by other brains, it also brings one's own thoughts, that feeling, which is essential for those thoughts to be picked up and acted upon by the subconscious mind. Thus, you will see that the broadcasting principle is a factor through which you may mix feeling your emotion with your thoughts and pass them on to your subconscious mind. The subconscious mind is the sending station of the brain, through which vibrations of thought are broadcasted. The creative imagination is the receiving set, through which the vibrations of thought are picked up from the ether, along with these important factors of the subconscious mind and the creative imagination. Consider now the principle of autosuggestion, the medium by which you may put into your operation your broadcasting station. Through the instructions described in Chapter 4, you were definitely informed of the method by which desire may be transmuted into its monetary equivalent. Operation of your mental broadcasting station is a comparatively simple procedure. You have but three principles to bear in mind and to apply. When you wish to use your broadcasting station, the subconscious mind, creative imagination, autosuggestion, the stimuli through which you put these three principles into action have been described. The procedure begins with desire. The greatest forces are intangible. The depression of 1930s brought the world to the very borderline of understanding intangible and unseen forces. Through the ages that have been passed, people have depended too much upon their physical senses and have limited their knowledge to physical things that they could see, touch, weigh, and measure. We are now entering the most marvelous of all ages, an age that will that will teach us something of the intangible forces of the world about us. Perhaps we shall learn as we pass through this age that the other self is more powerful than the physical self we see when we look into the mirror. Sometimes we speak highly of the intangibles, the things we cannot perceive through any of our five senses, but we should never forget that we are all controlled by unseen and intangible forces. The whole of humankind has not the power to cope with, not control the intangible forces wrapped up in the rolling waves of the oceans. The human mind does not have the capacity to understand the intangible forces of gravity, which keeps this little earth suspended in mid-air and keeps us from falling from it, much less the power to control the force. All of us are entirely subservient to the intangible force which comes with a thunderstorm, and we are just as hopeless in the presence of that intangible source of electricity. Indeed, many of us do not even know what electricity is, where it comes from, or what its purpose, nor is this by any means of the end of our ignorance in connection with things unseen and intangible. We do not understand the intangible forces and intelligence wrapped up in the soil of the earth, the force which provides us with every morsel of food we eat, every article of clothing we wear, and every coin we carry in our pockets. And I'll take a pause there. Very short read, like I mentioned. I wonder if the author in this very last bit is trying to give gratitude to what we have, especially how it was comparing from, the Great Depression in the 1930s and, what we have now with technology and accessibility to information and knowledge. And I wonder if, making the connection between how the human brain sometimes doesn't recognize the intangible stuff that we cannot see, the forces that we cannot see, or just even the concepts of how, what it was mentioning about how the earth is floating mid-air in space and not just falling through the face of, space or whatever that might look like, or even the force of gravity, and how sometimes we overlook those things or ungrateful about the idea that, if we have the opportunity to have a shelter over our head or have food on our plate, that's what really matters. So that's what I grasped from that. But I'll see you guys tomorrow, and like I said, I'll finish off too, so we make up for yesterday. And today was made up, but tomorrow will be Saturday and Monday. So see you guys tomorrow. Peace.